You're about to discover something wild. Something that'll completely change how you watch couples at restaurants, how you scroll through dating apps, how you analyze your friends' terrible taste in partners. Ready for this? The way women select partners isn't random. It's not just chemistry. It's actually one of the most fascinating psychological processes humans go through. And understanding it might just change how you see every relationship around you, including your own. I'm not talking about fluffy relationship advice here. I'm talking about hard science, decades of research, patterns so predictable that psychologists can actually map them out. So buckle up. What you're about to learn might make you see dating completely differently. Let me start with something that'll blow your mind. Right now, every woman walking down the street is carrying around an invisible blueprint, a blueprint for partner selection. And here's the crazy part, it was written when she was a baby. I'm serious. Psychologists discovered that our relationships with our parents in the first few years of life literally program how we do relationships as adults. Think of it like this. Imagine you got a phone, and the operating system was installed when you were 2 years old, based on how consistently your parents responded to you. That's basically what happened with your relationship software. If a woman had parents who were consistently loving and responsive, she probably learned to trust people. She approaches dating with confidence. She's comfortable with closeness. She doesn't freak out when someone needs space. Sounds healthy, right? But here's where it gets crazy. If her early experiences were inconsistent, maybe mom was sometimes loving and sometimes distant, she might find herself attracted to people who are unpredictable, because that feels like home. Not good home, just familiar home. Your brain doesn't know the difference between familiar and healthy. It just knows familiar feels right, even when familiar is absolutely terrible for you. Now, I know what you're thinking. This sounds like we're all just prisoners of our childhood. But stay with me, because knowing this is actually powerful. Once you understand the pattern, you can change it. Here's something that sounds really unromantic, but it's absolutely true. When a woman is looking at a potential partner, part of her brain is running calculations. I'm not kidding. Humans are constantly doing cost-benefit analysis in relationships. What am I getting from this person? Emotional support, excitement, security, great conversations, amazing adventures. And what am I investing? Time, emotional energy, vulnerability, maybe dealing with their annoying friends. Your brain wants to know if what you're getting is worth what you're giving. And before you judge this as cold, think about it. Every relationship requires resources. You only have so much time, so much emotional energy, so much capacity for vulnerability. Your brain is just trying to make sure you're spending those resources wisely. It's actually smart. The problem is this calculation happens unconsciously. You meet someone and feel that spark, or that me feeling, underneath it. Your brain has already done the math. The spark, that's your brain saying the numbers look good. The me, that's your brain saying this doesn't add up. But here's what makes this even more interesting. Partner selection isn't one big decision. It's a series of eliminations, like a tournament bracket. But for love, imagine a woman walks into a room with 100 people. Her brain immediately starts narrowing down who even counts as a potential partner. First round of elimination. Proximity and basic life stage. She's probably not going to date someone who lives on another continent, or someone who's in a completely different stage of life. This is why workplace romances are so common. This is why you're more likely to date someone from your gym, your university, your neighborhood. You literally cannot fall for someone you never meet. There's actually a term for this, the proximity effect. And it shows that simple physical closeness is one of the biggest predictors of who we end up with. Think about that. There are probably amazing people living 3 miles from you right now. People you'll never date, simply because your paths don't cross. Geography is destiny more than we want to admit. Second round of elimination, similarity. After proximity narrows things down, the brain starts filtering for shared values, similar attitudes, common interests, similar backgrounds. And this isn't shallow. Similarity actually predicts relationship happiness better than almost anything else. When you share basic values with someone, you're not constantly fighting about whether to have kids, where to live, how to spend money, what matters in life. You're already on the same page. But here's where it gets interesting. Third round of elimination, differences that balance things out. Maybe she's anxious and he's calm. Maybe she's a planner and he's spontaneous. The key is that these differences work together. They don't create constant fights. So you've got this 3-stage filter. Proximity puts people in the pool. Similarity keeps them there. Differences make specific people stand out. And all of this happening without you even realizing it. Now let's talk about something we don't always want to admit. Physical attraction matters, and it matters in really predictable ways. Research shows something fascinating. People tend to pair up with others who are roughly similar in physical attractiveness. And before you think that's shallow, consider what's actually happening. When someone is looking at potential partners, part of their brain is thinking about realistic chances. If she goes after someone she thinks is way out of her league, the risk of rejection is high. If she goes after someone she thinks is way below her league, she might worry about settling. So people look for matches that feel balanced. But here's the cool part. What counts as attractive isn't fixed. It changes. Someone can literally become more physically attractive to you simply because you see them regularly. They start to feel familiar and safe. That person you barely noticed at first. 3 months later, they're the most attractive person in the room. That's not settling. That's your brain doing something sophisticated, finding beauty in connection. All right, now we need to talk about something controversial. Evolutionary psychology. And I need you to stay open-minded here, because this is where science meets culture meets heated debate. Some researchers say that because women historically dealt with pregnancy and nursing, they evolved to be more selective about partners. The theory goes that women would look for signs of resources, signs of commitment, signs that a guy would stick around. Meanwhile, men had way lower biological costs, so they might have evolved to care more about youth and fertility. Now here's what's crucial. Even if this was true thousands of years ago, and that's debated, it doesn't control your behavior today. You're not a robot programmed by cave person needs. Culture matters enormously. Personal experience matters. Individual personality matters. Some women care about financial stability. Others care about creativity and passion. Others care about emotional intelligence and kindness. And here's what's really interesting. Modern research shows something important. As societies become more equal, as women gain economic independence, many of these supposed preferences shift or disappear, which suggests they were never purely biological to begin with. Let's talk about something that happens early on. When a woman first meets someone she likes, her brain goes into detective mode. She's gathering information. She asks questions, observes behavior, checks social media, maybe talks to mutual friends, all to figure out who this person really is. And how someone handles this matters. Too closed off, interest fades. Oversharing too quickly, that feels weird or unstable. The gradual process of opening up matters, slowly revealing yourself while learning about them. And women pay attention to whether this feels balanced. Is he asking questions? Is he sharing real things about himself, or is she doing all the work? Here's something that might surprise you. Self-esteem shapes partner choices in huge ways. Think of self-esteem like a gauge. It constantly measures whether you feel accepted or rejected. Women with higher self-esteem tend to have higher standards. They're more likely to reject people who don't meet their needs, because they believe they deserve someone great, and they believe they can find them. Women with lower self-esteem might accept less satisfying relationships, because they doubt they can do better. But here's the good news. Self-esteem isn't fixed, it can change. Understanding how it works means you can work on your relationship with yourself, which changes everything about who you're willing to date, and who you're willing to walk away from. Let me tell you about one of my favorite psychology studies, because it reveals something so weird about attraction. Researchers had men meet an attractive woman on 2 different bridges. One was stable and safe. The other was a terrifying suspension bridge swaying over a canyon. The men who met her on the scary bridge were way more likely to call her later. Why? Their hearts were racing from the bridge. Adrenaline was pumping. But they thought they were feeling attraction. They were actually just scared. This is called misattribution of arousal. And it means context matters enormously. Meeting someone while doing something exciting, traveling, hiking, at a concert, that can intensify feelings of attraction, compared to meeting them somewhere boring. It's why vacation romances feel so intense, and sometimes don't survive normal life. It's why first dates with activities often work better than just dinner. Let's talk about friends and family, because partner selection doesn't happen alone. Humans want consistency in their social relationships. You want your friends to like your partner. You want your partner to like your friends. You want your family to approve. When there's tension there, it creates real stress. So part of choosing a partner involves thinking about how they fit into your existing life. Do your friends connect with them? Does your family approve? Can this person actually fit into the life you've already built? These aren't shallow concerns. Research shows that relationships with strong support from friends and family are way more likely to last. Your social circle isn't just watching. They're actually part of the equation. Here's something critical that often gets overlooked: fairness. Relationships feel best when both people feel like they're giving and receiving proportionally. Not equal in every moment, but fair over time. If you feel like you're giving way more than you're getting, resentment builds. Eventually something breaks. If you feel like you're getting way more than you're giving, guilt creeps in. Smart partner selection involves asking these questions early. Can this person meet me halfway emotionally? Will I end up doing all the work, all the planning, all the relationship maintenance? Will responsibilities be shared? These might seem like questions for later, but they're actually questions for right now, because patterns established early tend to continue. If someone isn't willing to put in effort when they're trying to impress you, they definitely won't later. Let me tell you about something operating in the background: the mental template. Everyone carries around an idea of their ideal partner, built from past experiences, from movies and TV, from cultural messages, from watching your parents and other relationships. When a woman meets someone new, she unconsciously compares them to this template. The closer the match, the stronger the attraction. But here's the tricky part: your template might not be healthy. Maybe you've idealized a relationship you saw growing up that actually had serious problems. Maybe you've absorbed romantic ideas from movies that are more about drama than actual happiness. Maybe your template is based on someone from your past who hurt you, and now you keep seeking that same dynamic, hoping for a different ending. Becoming aware of your template is powerful. What is it? Where did it come from? Is it based on what would actually make you happy, or on borrowed ideas that you never questioned? Here's a tiny interaction that reveals everything. Research shows that how someone responds to good news predicts relationship quality. When a woman shares something exciting, does he respond with genuine enthusiasm? Does he ask questions? Does he celebrate with her? Or does he minimize it? Redirect attention to himself? Give a lukewarm acknowledgement? During the selection phase, these tiny moments tell you everything. They show you whether someone will be a true partner in your success, not just your struggles. A lot of people can show up when things are hard. Fewer people can genuinely celebrate when things are good. Watch how someone responds to good news. It's a window into who they really are. Let's talk about investment, because this becomes crucial as things get serious. Commitment comes from three things: satisfaction with the relationship, other options available, and how much you've already invested. Early on, satisfaction and other options matter most. Am I happy with this person? Could I be happier with someone else? But as you invest more, time, emotions, shared experiences, vulnerability, maybe moving in together or combining finances, those investments themselves create commitment. Here's why this matters. The more you invest, the harder it becomes to leave, even if the relationship isn't actually right. This is why being selective early is so important. Before major investments happen, don't invest deeply in someone hoping they'll change. Don't stay because you've already put in 2 years. The time you've already spent is gone. The only relevant question is whether this relationship deserves your future. So let's bring all of this together. Because partner selection isn't about one thing. It's not one moment of decision. It's this incredibly complex process where tons of forces work together. A woman selecting a partner is influenced by childhood patterns, by unconscious calculations happening in real time, by filters of proximity and similarity and differences, by physical attraction that's both biological and social, by possibly evolutionary pressures filtered through culture, by needs to gather information, by self-esteem levels, by exciting contexts, by friends and family opinions, by assessments of fairness, by mental templates from the past, by how someone responds to joy, and by calculations about happiness, alternatives, and investments. It's honestly amazing that anyone successfully finds a compatible partner, given how many variables are in play. But here's the beautiful thing. Understanding all these forces doesn't make partner selection mechanical. It doesn't kill romance. It makes it empowered. When you understand what's shaping choices, you can evaluate whether it's helping or hurting. You can recognize when you're repeating bad patterns from the past. You can be more intentional about what you truly want, versus what society or movies told you to want. Knowledge is power here. Understanding how women select partners provides real choice. You're not just swept up in chemistry, or settling for whoever shows interest first. You become an active participant in one of the most important decisions of your life. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to practice choosing not just with emotion, but with awareness, with your values, with wisdom about what actually creates lasting happiness. That's not less romantic. That's actually the deepest romance there is. Choosing someone with full awareness, because you truly want them after considering everything, not because biology or society or fear told you to. That's real choice. That's real love. And understanding the science behind it doesn't ruin the magic. It enhances it. Because now you know just how extraordinary it is when all these complex factors actually align. When two people genuinely choose each other with eyes wide open,